Hello and good evening, everybody. Marcus C. Williams here. How are you guys doing this fine evening? All right, let's see. Okay, I see Telegram is in the room. All right, let's see. Yes, let's make that happen. All right. Okay, so we got everything started and going. Now, let's jump into this tonight. Okay, as you guys know, we're working on getting all this streaming and everything together across the different channels and formats. So I appreciate all of you guys bearing with me. So, with everything going on in the world right now, you have seen a lot of the madness go on. So, let's jump into some of the madness. Immediately on the radar today is the and it's hard for me to even say out loud because it just sounds so crazy. The Drag Time Story Hour, hosted by Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York State, and various other sponsors, as well as the Queens Public Library, the Manhattan Public Library, as well as others, and many, many, many assembly people and council people, all of whom are Democrats, which is just something to be noted. It's kind of interesting. First, we should really talk about the fact that Letitia James is the Attorney General. And I would just say, within reason, the Attorney General, who is the highest law authority in New York State, doesn't really have any business in anything that is a drag story hour for children. They are not listen, how can I even break it down for you, right? Like, the Attorney General has no good business hosting a drag story hour with her office as the promoters of it. This is what the serious real issue is, that you're promoting it using your office. I don't care what she does in her off time. She can hang upside down and sip milkshakes through a straw while she plays a piano with her toes. I don't care. I could care less. But when you're in your office in your official capacity, you are a legal person, right? Like, you're an attorney, like you're the attorney for the state. This is not a law event. This is not anything to do with law, practicing law. This is nothing to do with anything in relation to anything with the court system. This is Drag Time Story Hour, where she is inviting children and families. This is the problem. They are inviting children and families. I think I need to say that again just so you can hear it again. The Attorney General is hosting a Drag Time Story Hour, and it's going to be inviting children and families. Okay? This is a very serious issue. Okay? Because it's out of the purview of the office in which she holds. This is completely inappropriate, outside of the fact that it's just generally inappropriate. Okay? This is an erotic clown show, and you're trying to encourage parents to take children to it. That's a serious issue. I don't care. Nobody can say anything. You can say whatever you want. You can say, oh, you're pro this, you're pro that. I don't care what you're pro. I don't care what you're anti. Okay. The fact of the matter is that children, one, should not be sexualized. Two, should not be exposed with public taxpayer office positions, okay, official positions, to sexualization and bastardization of females. That's what this is. See, let me break down and jump into what the core problem is here. Would you take your children to go see a, let's call it a strip show? No, you wouldn't. Okay. Would you take your child to go see somebody dressed in blackface do a old-timey type of minstrel show? No, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. That would be like, no, that's wrong. So here's the deal. I don't care how you feel about drag performers. I don't care what you think. I could care less. Okay. It's inappropriate for children. And honestly, drag is a very interesting situation, and we're not going to jump into it too deeply right now. But the situation is this: drag is a clown show. It is a clown representation of an imitation of what a man perceives females to be like through caricatures. It is no different than a minstrel show. Not at all. Okay, what is a minstrel show? A minstrel show is blackface, where these people used to make basically performing as if they were mocking black people and using stereotypical tropes in relation to them, just so you guys know and understand that this is exactly what's being done with these drag things. This is caricatures of women. It's insulting to women. It's honestly insulting to the alphabet community that they're being boiled down to that they can only be represented by drag. You know, and I have to say this as a completely judgment-free quick second. There are many people, okay, shemales, trannies, transvestites, cross-dressers, different things like that, in which work very hard to actually look like and imitate real life females, not fake caricatures of what you clownery of what a female is supposed to be. Like, it's completely and highly unacceptable what's being done, what's being promoted, and what's going on. And what's more so over is, I hope you guys can hear me and this microphone is on. What's more so over is that this now represents the whole community, alphabet community. And it's just beyond me that they've let it got this far. But again, them, like many people who are straight, are scared to say anything, or you're scared to speak up because you're scared that they'll cancel you. You're scared that they'll brand you whatever it is this Tuesday. I think the clever thing to brand people now is transphobic, whatever the hell that means, which is we're not even going to break down definitions in the way that words work, because that's not how words work. Even though they keep trying to tell you that this is how words work, that they can tell you what new definitions mean and stuff like that. Like asexuals, for instance. An asexual creature, an organism, is an organism. Let's say we've got this pig here, right? It would be a pig. An asexual pig would be a pig that can reproduce without having to have another pig. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that would be an asexual organism. So, but asexuals apparently now are people who just don't want to have sex, don't feel the urge to have sex. That's insanity. Stop changing words. If you want to identify as something, make up your own new word. Don't try to repurpose other words that are already things. It's a whole nother separate issue, but it's a problem, right? It's a problem that really goes deeper than the drag shows themselves. It goes deeper than Drag Time Story Hour, which is normalizing this crazy cockamamie caricature of women and for children. It's wrong. It's sick. And many of these people dress up in demonic things. But this is just a start in the tip of the iceberg of what she's doing. Because what we've seen very much so lately is drag performances for children. Drag performances for children. And that's completely unacceptable. Okay? Drag performances, okay, differing from drag story time. But drag story time is not okay. And this is just overarching, what would you call it? I don't know, you guys. It's like some terrible, really horrible garbage crap, and we're supposed to tolerate it and deal with it because we're supposed to tolerate it from people who who don't tolerate us. We're supposed to tolerate things from people that don't tolerate us, that would abolish, destroy, and consistently and frequently bastardize our way of life and tell us that we can't live the way that we have traditionally. That a man, it doesn't have to be a man shouldn't be a man, and a man should be a woman, and a woman should be a man, and a woman shouldn't be a woman because men need to be women. It just doesn't. It's wrong. Period. I don't care what you cut off. I don't care what you add on after you're over the age of 18. I don't honestly care as long as you're not hurting anybody else. But don't push your cockamamie garbage on me. Period. Don't push it on the children. Do not push it on very children. The eroticism, okay, of the drag shows that they're putting on for children, okay, is crazy. That's why they just outlawed them in Tennessee, because they shouldn't be exposing anybody under 18 to this stuff. This is erotic stuff. If you were to take your child out to go to the strip club, they'd arrest you and take your child. Go ahead, take your child out there and see if somebody calls CPS on you and see if you don't get arrested and your child get taken from you. So how can you take your children out to drag performances? Explain this to me. Explain it. Make it make sense. Somebody make it make sense. It's madness. Sheer, utter, unadulterated madness, and it needs to stop. What needs to stop more than that is it being pushed in schools, it being pushed in public spaces, it being pushed with public money. Are you outside of your rabid mind? Like, are we being real with ourselves? Okay, but these same people that try to prop this up tell us more traditional people that our way of life is wrong, but you want us to accept you for crazy clownicature, erotic clownicism, and nonsense that you're trying to force down our throats and teach your children are okay. It's not okay. Period. Point blank. Okay. Nobody can tell me anything otherwise because you're wrong. Period. I had somebody that called me today on the telephone. Okay. And they were like, oh, well, what about the churches and the priests and the this and the that and the da 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 da, and more of them have been what do you call them, have had sexual relations with children and stuff than drag performers have. I was like, hold on now. You've never heard me say that drag performers are sexually assaulting or doing anything like that to children. I've never specifically heard of that particularly. I only talk about the sexualization and the hypersexualization of children and the youth. However, I am sure just by straight numbers that has happened, that at some point a drag performer has done that, I am sure. But this is what the person trying to advocate for the nonsense said. Like, this is not, like, I cannot register it. And I had to correct them. I'm saying, hold on. But I've never heard anybody say that, you know? And they're like, well, that's not what I'm saying, but it is what you're saying. And then they went to go regurgitate the same nonsense again. But their point was, well, why don't you say anything about the go after the priests and stuff like that? Now, any of you guys who are listening to me that know me personally know that I've got a lot of stuff to say about the church all the time. And when I say the church, I mean specifically the Catholic Church, especially this current pope that's in there. That dude is very, very anti-Christian and highly anti-Catholicism with the stuff that he promotes and spouts and does. But that's a whole separate conversation. Okay. Now, when we go and we start talking about more traditional values and stuff like that, and I'm going to switch the topic quickly because I want to cover some other stuff. But we were talking about how people that try to promote drag and stuff like that and try to promote the sexualization of children in school and teaching them anal and oral sex in like elementary school, and that a boy doesn't have to be a boy and stuff like that. The people that are pushing this nonsense upon the world would not tolerate anything that you do. They don't want to tolerate church. They don't want to tolerate the Bible. They don't want to tolerate you pledging allegiance in the classroom. They don't want to tolerate you saying prayers. They don't want to tolerate you being with a wife. They don't want to tolerate a man and a wife being together. They don't want to tolerate babies being born because they want you to kill all your babies. Abortion is a big thing with them. They don't want that. And worse than all, this has come up, tradwives, right? Now, tradwife is a traditional wife. Tradwife, that's what it is. And this is where we're going. Okay. So tradwife is a trend that's being now popularized on TikTok and on the internet, in which you have either stay-at-home mothers or mothers that are raising their kids, homeschooling their kids at that, like that, while the fathers go off and they go and they work, you know, because as they should. This is the tradition of our history, of legitimately all of humanity. The mother rears the children and the father goes and works to provide for the family, safety, security, financial, and stuff like that. So now people are admonishing women for being traditional women. Remember, these are the same people that will say, oh, you're a bigot or oh, you're intolerant, when they're the ones who fought to get rid of the song Natural Woman by Aretha Franklin in Black History Month. Like, that's the most cockamamie, anti, just so many things. First of all, that was some racist garbage, number one. Okay. Secondly, it's some anti-feminist trash. Okay. And it's anti-woman trash. And honestly, it's also anti-man trash as well. Okay. And it's something that really needs to be talked about, but people won't talk about the madness that's going on. And it continues to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. Now they're out here shitting on people that want to have traditional families, that want to rear their kids, that want to homeschool their kids, that want to have a man that's willing to work to enable them so that they can stay at home and provide. Not everybody has that luxury, because we know the cost of goods and everything continues to skyrocket because Biden inflation and his nonsense and monetary and financial policy and them collapsing the banks and the interest rates of the Federal Reserve continuing to go up, which is forcing the banks to collapse because the bonds that the banks have to shore up their money are now worth less, which is what happened with Silicon Valley Bank, where the bonds that they had purchased from the government had to be sold off for 20% less because they had a lower interest rate and yield, because the newer higher interest rates were higher and nobody wants those cheap bonds. So as they continue to push inflation, if you can possibly work and have your partner stay home and be able to rear the children and cook and clean and manage the house and stuff like that, that's fantastic. Lord bless it. At some point, I'm able to do that. I was in DC recently, and I ran across a lovely lady, and she was really awesome. We had a great long conversation. She's a Uber driver, but she is also a tractor trailer driver, and she's a teacher. She used to be a teacher anyway. She was a teacher before COVID. Okay, I believe she said 15 years or something like that. And then when that nonsense started to happen, her husband said, listen, before this stuff goes down, you should probably look into doing something different. And she didn't. She went into trucking, And she said that her husband does have a good enough job where she doesn't have to work, but she likes to work, and she does it so that they have some extra spending money, and that's awesome. And that's really, really awesome. But, taking a poop on traditional families, traditional values, two-parent homes, all parents should have a two-family home. You should have you should have a man, and you should have a woman in the family to rear the children. That is how it's supposed to be. It is a nature and a nurture type of a situation. You can say, oh, well, whoever else can have kids or whatever the case is. I don't care what you have to say. Because that's not how nature is supposed to be. I don't care what you have to say. I'm not speaking against that. That's not the point. What I am doing is advocating for something. Okay. I don't have time to advocate against something. That's a waste of my time. That's a waste of my energy, and stuff's going to happen anyway. But what I can do is encourage people to have a mother and a father in a child's life so that they can both come together, work as one family, work as one unit, live in one house together, and help build a stronger bond as a family and work together, because that type of a relationship is supposed to be a partnership in duty and bringing together to create a family unit. That's why it's called a family unit. You know what I'm saying? An individual is an individual, but when a man and a woman come together and they have a child, they are a family unit, and it should be that way. It should stay that way. We need to keep the fathers in the homes. We should stop promoting them pushing fathers out of homes. We should not have government policies that incentivize single parent households, especially single women households, because the children are not getting what they need. And that's the appropriate raising, right? Like, if you ask me, and this is probably a conversation for a separate video completely, but mothers do the rearing. That's the behind the scenes stuff. Fathers do the raising. Okay. The raising is the structure format. You understand what I'm saying? The rearing is the behind, the raising is the structure, So these are very important, two separate tasks that are not able to be completed by one specific individual, and people say, oh, well, I was a one parent household and I did great and my kids did great and this, that, and the third. Well, how much more greater could they have done if they had a stable two-family household? Because statistics would pan out that if you have a two-family household, you're more likely to be successful. You're less likely to go to jail. Actually, it's interesting statistics, and I don't have them off the top of my head. I'd have to pull them up for you later at a different time. But, it's funny. The success rate of a single mother and the child's success rate is lower than a two-family, a father and a mother household. But on top of that, interestingly enough, the success rate of a a two-parent household is the same success rate for the child if it was just a father in the house. So wow, I mean, that's just a mind-blowing thing right there. But it's real. It's real, and people don't want to talk about that type of stuff. But I will. I don't got time for that because somebody needs to be saying what's real out there. We also have Biden, who's doing everything to destroy our country, okay? And this, along with the rest of the Democrats in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. And if you're in New York with me, the ones in the state assembly and in the Senate, I don't know what the heck they're on, if they just completely forgot that they're supposed to serve the people or what the hell's going on, Like they're all not communists, they're all not socialists. It's like they all just don't give a damn, which is even more concerning. So I've got more concerns, but we're not talking about that tonight. We're talking about Biden. Okay. Biden's got some stuff going on with him. This man just pushed an executive order yesterday. Yeah, I want to say it was yesterday, in which basically he laid the groundwork in his executive order for a national gun registry. It's out of control. They want to take your guns, period, point blank. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sell you a dream. They want to take your guns because they know that what's coming with the way that they're collapsing the value of our dollar. They're making our dollar worthless. They're making it so that it's difficult for you to provide for your family. We've got the issue of the robots that are about to take all the jobs and the AI that's about to take all the jobs. Elon Musk talked about this the other day. He said by 2030, 2035, robots and AI will be able to do almost every type of a job that a human can do. And at that point, what do human workers even mean? And this is a very serious question that we need to be talking about right now. And how do we stave off the effects and the impacts of this and what it'll have on our nation, but not just on our future, on the children. I guess Gen Alpha is just completely out to dry because they won't have any jobs. Stay hydrated, drink water. But it's out of control, you guys. A national country. We've got the FBI going after preppers who are preparing because the shit's about to hit the fan. Excuse the formalities. It's really about to come down. And this is honestly the reason why you need to stand up now. You need to push back now. If you do not stand up and you do not speak up now, there won't be a time later. I promise you. Like, it's coming. It's about to be here. It's honestly already, we're very far into it. So now is the time. If you were ever going to stand up and speak up, now is the time to encourage your friends and your families to start pushing back against the nonsense that's going on. And people are like, oh, well, I just stay out of politics. Politics don't stay out of you. And I could do a whole episode about how politics don't stay out of you. Don't stay out of the school system, so it doesn't stay out of your brain. It doesn't stay out of your body because the policies make them force all types of drugs inside your body. And you'll be like, oh, Marcus, are you talking about those COVID shots? No, I'm not talking about the COVID shots at all. I'm talking about the drugs and chemical dependency that they put into children where they tell you, oh, you're hyperactive. Children aren't hyperactive. Okay? They're not. That's a lie. Children are not supposed to be sitting in a classroom for 5 to 8 hours a day. They're supposed to be out there running wild like children do, climbing trees, jumping off stuff, running through a field, playing in the stream. Okay? I said stream, not street. I know that kind of ran together. I wanted to make sure that you knew what I was saying. But it's out of control, honestly. It's out of control, honestly. And they keep trying to medicate America on everything. And it's okay because the drug companies sell us that it's okay because the government says that the drug companies can do whatever the hell they want. This is a very serious issue. And again, goes back to the government doing overreach with Joe Biden and his national gun registry, which he's doing, so they can know where your guns are, so they can take them from you when the stuff goes down. And this is what's coming. And I really need you to wake up. I really need you to stand up, and I really need you to stay strong and speak up too. Because if we don't do it now, there won't be a later, you guys. And that's what I really want to impress upon you, because I'm trying to encourage you. But at the same time that I'm trying to encourage you, I'm also trying to alert you to what's actually going on. Now we've got the gun registry, right? Now let's talk about what's going on here in New York State. So in New York State, there was an assembly bill last year that we were luckily able to defeat after we were able to get enough people together to actually start to push back for it. It's Assembly Bill A416. You can go look it up. It's an internment camp bill. And roughly the language speaks like this. If you may have possibly been in contact with somebody who could possibly be considered a public health threat, then the government can, the state government can appoint somebody, not even an elected official, right? Can appoint somebody to take you and hold you in an internment camp. Okay. And the way it was written is that they don't have to give you a lawyer. They don't have to tell anybody where you went. But after 10 days, if they decide they want to, they can. This is alarming for many reasons, aside from just the loose language. Okay, so this would be used clearly for COVID or any other type of a outbreak that they might see or say happened or whatever the case is. But what's more concerning is the language is also open to people with firearms. Because if you'll remember, Cuomo, and this started with Cuomo started a gun emergency, right? He said guns is a public health crisis. That's what he said. He said guns are a public health crisis, not illegal guns, just guns are a public health crisis. He declared a public health crisis over guns. So that means that if somebody may possibly have or be in ownership of a firearm, they could be considered a threat to public health, which means police officers, legal gun owners, stuff like that. But it also means that if you have one, they can take you and they can lock you up, because you have to be very, very careful with the language and the language usage of what's being done, so you can actually pay attention and see what's really going on. That's how these things work. Now, that was that one bill. We were able to luckily defeat that, right? But then Kathy Hochul, I call her the High Priestess, Kathy Hochul. We'll go through that in another episode. If you don't follow me in my old stuff, you'd know why. But the High Priestess, Kathy Hochul, said, hey, you know what? We're going to push this through Health and Human Services. And she did. And then we took it to court. And thanks to a couple of different senators and Bobby Ann Cox for getting it struck down by the judge. And then Kathy Hochul says, hey, man, I'm going to appeal this. And then she did. And she appealed it. So now they're trying to push to reinstate these internment camps in New York State, which we already got struck down, which were deemed unconstitutional, which we already got the bill pulled from the state assembly. So they're trying to go through this and make this happen anyway. I need you guys to really wake up. And now is the time to stand up, and we have to push back, because this isn't the only madness that's coming. Smart cities are coming. Surveillance monitoring, what does it stand for? Surveillance monitoring something. I can't even remember all the letters. I'm just so irritated right now with everything that's going on. I'll do a video at some point in the future, a regular video, not live. I'll do a regular video sometime on what a smart city is, period. But it's basically what you hear about 15-minute cities where you won't be able to traverse outside of your neighborhood. Okay, that's a very serious problem and it's coming very soon. So if you let these internment camps come, if you let them take away the guns, this is what's going to happen. They try to play on your emotions, they try to play on your feelings, and they try to make you believe that it's okay, or oh, it's for the safety, or oh, it's for children, or whatever it is. No, it's so that they can have the power, because you guys are the same people that are concerned about those people are the same people that are concerned about, oh, we need less police. You need less police, so you need more crime. But there's the guns that are being used in the violent crime are illegal guns, are illegal firearms, but you're trying to take the firearms from the legal law-abiding people. People really need to pay attention to what's going on. With this internment camp bill, if they take all your guns, then you won't be able to fight back and prevent them from putting you in an internment camp, or just in general, taking all of your stuff with the new laws that the state assembly and the governor is trying to push through with eminent domain and lessening of home rule, in which basically the city or the town or wherever you are, the township basically controls their land independently, therefore, of the state in general. And that's something that is really, really, really important to take a note of. If you do not have any firearms, you will not be able to resist the government. And that's what they want. Look at the people who are telling you. Biden's saying that, but he's got a whole force of armed guys, highly trained armed guys. Governor Newsom says that, and he's got a force of armed guys, highly trained armed guys. You know, Kathy Hochul tells you that, and she's got a force of armed guys, highly trained armed guys, and she's a gun owner. And she's trying to take your guns. Please, somebody make this make sense. Come on, you guys. We really have to start standing up and speaking up. If we do not stand up and speak up now, there won't be a time later on to do it without massive, unfortunately, and I say this with all concern due in it, there won't be a time to stand up later without massive bloodshed to try to undo what's been done. That's why we must stand up now. Okay? Will we be able to stop everything that's coming? Absolutely not. But we can make awful softer, and we can slow it down, and we can make it not hurt as bad and make it less painful. Do not give up your guns. Buy more guns. Buy more ammo. Legal, though. And shit, honestly, at this point, I don't even know what to tell you. Just arm yourself, because the government's coming after you soon. Okay, unless you're a good little boy or a good little girl and you go along with whatever they say this Tuesday. I see you, Kurt. I appreciate you very much. It's out of control, you guys. It's absolutely out of control. Madness. And it's getting more and more and more ridiculous. We see what's going on in the schools. We see what's being taught. They're pushing communism, they're pushing collectivism, and they're trying to get rid of individualism, which our country is founded on individualism and charting your own course in life and being able to achieve and do for yourself. And they're trying to get rid of capitalism, which enables you to be able to actually rise through the ranks of the social status and social classes, because they don't want you to rise at all. They want to keep you down on the bottom. They want to keep you below their feet. And this is what's going on. And I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's going on in Canada after they took all their guns and stopped them, but it's bad, you guys. And with them pushing this central bank digital currency, these digital dollars, it's going to get really, really, really serious. Like, you won't be able to spend your money. The government will tell you everything. Like, you see how they're stopping people from getting money out of the banks right now? And you think the government won't do that, because now they're going to get rid of all of the banks completely, and they'll be the only bank. There won't be any intermediary, so the government will know what you buy, when you buy, what you're doing, what you're buying, where you're buying it, all the time, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, all the time. You know, and this is something that's extremely important that we need to recognize and pay attention to, because if we don't address this now, all is lost. And I hate to say it like that, but we must address it now. And we can. We can. You're like, well, Marcus, there doesn't seem to be much time left. There's not. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. but I'm going to do my best to encourage you guys to keep fighting on, to keep standing up, to keep pushing back, to stand up for our constitutional rights, liberties, and freedoms, because it is very seriously necessary. And we must do this. It is not a choice. It is a duty. It is a civic duty for our nation, for the United States of America, but more so, it is a moral duty for us to save our future. If we do not, we will go back in something that is worse than slavery. So please stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. It's time to take action. Stay strong, be blessed, be well. I'll catch you later.